There's no stopping Eala's ascent. Manila, Philippines, the star continues to rise for the Filipina tennis rock star. Following a stellar campaign in Abu Dhabi, Eala soared to a new career-high ranking in both singles and doubles of the Women's Tennis Association, WTA, leading up to another tour stop in Doha. Eala reached number 40 in the singles, up 5 rungs from number 45 last week, while also breaking the top 100 at number 99 in doubles, thanks to a pair of deep runs in the stacked WTA 500 Abu Dhabi Open. It's the second straight month of Eala's steady rise in the WTA ranks, climbing from number 49 to start the year, then number 45 after a productive stretch in Asia and the Pacific. Her latest feat was a quarter-final finish in the Abu Dhabi singles, coupled by a doubles Final Four stint with sister Janice Tien of Indonesia. That run included a win against the super tandem of Christina Buxa, WTA doubles number 22, and two-time Grand Slam champion Shuai Zhang of China, WTA number 7, who just came off an Australian Open title run to reach the semifinals. Before that, Eala also made a quarter-final finish in the WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open, her first pro tournament at home, and had a Final Four stint in the WTA 250 ASB Classic in Auckland, New Zealand. She also gained a few points in a first-round exit in the Australian Open, where she made her main draw debut to complete her appearance in the 4 majors after previous qualifications in the US Open, French Open and Wimbledon. And albeit not counted in the WTA rankings, Eala bagged the exhibition title in the Kooyong Classic in Melbourne. There's no stopping Eala's ascent. The first time Eala stood at the edge of the precipice, the wind tugged at her hair as if trying to warn her away. Below her, the valley spread like a quilt of shadows and sunlight, and above her, the sky stretched into an endless dome of possibility. Most people would have turned back. Most people would have listened to the whispers of fear that live in every human heart. But Eala had fire in her veins. She had a pulse that refused to accept limits. From the moment she had learned to walk, she had walked as though the world itself had dared her to rise above it. She didn't move with caution, she moved with conviction. Friends and family would tell her to slow down, to consider the risks, to be patient. But Eala had already understood something that so many overlooked. Growth is not a gentle climb. It is a storm. It is a surge. And it is unstoppable when you decide it is. Her ascent had begun years ago, not with a grand gesture or a decisive moment, but with a single step. In the heart of her small town, where dreams were often swallowed by routine, she had dared to imagine herself as more than the sum of expectation. While others sought comfort in predictability, Eala sought the unknown. She read, she questioned, she sketched her visions into the margins of notebooks. Every small act of defiance, every choice to pursue the impossible, became a rung on her invisible ladder. When she left her hometown, the world seemed vast enough to swallow her ambition. There were days when the city's noise drowned her in doubt, when doors slammed shut before she even reached them, when the weight of every no threatened to tether her to the ground. But Eala learned early on that ascent is not about avoiding resistance, it is about learning to navigate it. Each challenge became fuel, each setback a step higher. It was in the quiet moments, when the sun fell just right on the skyline or the rain tapped a rhythm on her window, that she realized the truth of her journey. The climb was not linear, and it was not always visible. There were moments when she felt she was treading water, moments when the summit was hidden behind clouds of uncertainty. Yet even in the fog, she moved. Eala's ascent wasn't measured by speed or recognition. It was measured by persistence, by the refusal to let the world define her limits. And then came the day when the ascent began to make itself known. People started to notice her, not just because of her achievements, but because of the way she carried herself. There was an energy about Eala, a quiet magnetism, a certainty that whispered, she will not be stopped. Colleagues sought her advice, communities invited her insight, and strangers in passing paused, sensing that she moved with a purpose beyond their understanding. Some thought it was luck. Some thought it was timing. But Eala knew better. She knew the long nights spent questioning herself, the countless times she had chosen courage over comfort, the relentless, often invisible effort that had built her wings. She had learned the hard truth that ascent is not a gift, it is forged. And once forged, it becomes unstoppable. Her journey was not without sacrifice. Relationships frayed, routines broke, and doubts often clawed at the edges of her mind. Yet even in loss and loneliness, she discovered something vital. Ascent is as much about shedding as it is about climbing. Every fear she confronted, every expectation she released, every self-imposed barrier she shattered became a rung she could step on toward her next horizon. And then came the moment that would define her ascent. Standing atop the highest ridge she had ever reached, looking out at the expanse of possibilities, she realized she had become something larger than the sum of her efforts. She had become a force. She had become proof that persistence, vision, and unwavering courage can bend the arc of life itself. People asked her how she did it, how she reached such heights without faltering. Eala would smile and say nothing, because the truth cannot always be put into words. It is a living thing, a pulse that resonates with those willing to hear it. Her ascent was unstoppable because it had never relied on validation, on approval, or on anyone else's permission. It relied on one thing: the relentless decision to rise. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in molten gold and violet, Eala's shadow stretched long across the ridge. It was a symbol of all she had overcome and all that lay ahead. The journey was far from over. There were peaks still cloaked in clouds, paths yet untraveled, and heights she had not even imagined. But she did not fear the unknown. She welcomed it. Because Eala had learned the secret that so many never grasp. Once the spirit chooses ascent, no force on earth can stop it. Gravity may pull. Storms may batter. Doubts may whisper. But the soul that has committed to climbing finds footholds where none seem to exist, sees paths where others see walls, and carries a flame that will never be extinguished. And so, with the wind at her back and the horizon in her eyes, Eala continued her ascent. Not because she sought fame, not because she sought reward, but because rising was who she was. Because the summit was never the goal, it was the journey, and she was unstoppable. In every city she touched, in every life she encountered, the echoes of her ascent lingered. Others began to see that ascent is not reserved for the chosen few. It is available to anyone willing to face fear, to embrace effort, to climb even when the world says, stop. And in that sense, Eala's ascent became more than her own. It became a beacon, a living testament that no dream is too vast, no climb too steep, and no limit too final. There's no stopping Eala's ascent. And for those who have learned to watch carefully, to listen carefully, to believe carefully, her journey whispers a single truth: the only limits that exist are the ones we allow to hold us down.